Astros crack open the scoreboard first with a single run in the top half of the second on behalf of Zach Greinke, who'll go back to work in his half of the inning to face Asdrubal Cabrera, Ryan Zimmerman, and Kurt Suzuki.
Well, there were so many things that happened with the base runner at third base when Greinke was at the plate. You just wonder, did they have a squeeze sign put on? And that's what Hinch was upset about, that the base runner at third missed it because Greinke squared around very early. And then you wondered about why they stopped the runner Reddick with the pitcher coming up. Take a gamble there if you don't have a good hitting pitcher like Greinke, but they had Greinke coming up. They stopped the runner at third, and it was very difficult to tell whether Greinke bunted on his own or Reddick missed the squeeze sign.
Greinke back to work here in the second, having stranded a 2-out double in the first, and his first offering home to Asdrubal Cabrera is in for a strike. Cabrera 3 for 9 with 3 runs batted in the World Series so far. And as Buck mentioned earlier, he has always seen Zach Greinke very well. 16 for 37. A breaking ball timed nicely and rattled into right field. The leadoff hitter aboard in the home second.
But when you have those types of numbers against a particular pitcher, it gives you an awful lot of confidence, and that was a breaking ball up out over the plate. We mentioned that Cabrera had talked about staying and going the other way, but because he stays back and it's a hanging curveball, he's able to pull it down the right field line. That's his 17th career hit against Zach Greinke.
So now Ryan Zimmerman, homered in game 1, 3 for 9 so far in the World Series. And the fastball starts him with a strike. He occupies a very important place in franchise history as the team's first ever first-round draft choice, atop the all-time leaderboard in games, hits, runs, homers, and RBIs. That's with the Washington Nationals portion of the franchise history.
Well, he hit the first World Series home run in franchise history. And he also hit the first home run in this ballpark when it opened up. In 2008, he had a walk-off home run against the Braves' Peter Moylan. First home run in this ballpark. And he's been a franchise icon ever since they moved here into this ballpark.
Behind 0-2. Breaking ball stays low.
This is a part of the lineup that the Nationals don't have any speed at all. Cabrera singled at first. He doesn't run well. Ryan Zimmerman, of course, doesn't run that well. And Kurt Suzuki's the catcher behind him. So this is where Greinke would love to be able to get a ground ball in this situation to erase the impact of that leadoff single.
Two balls and 2 strikes.
Tight strike zone early.
Yeah,
both pitchers.
All kind of playing out as per the scouting report on Gary Cederstrom, the home plate umpire. He's been a little tougher than a lot of his colleagues in calling low pitches as strikes, particularly with a right-hander in there. And that's kind of the way things have started tonight.
And both pitchers have had reactions as if they thought they threw strikes and didn't get the call.
2 balls and 2 strikes. The count remains to Ryan Zimmerman. You know, even home plate umpires can change or evolve. We talk about a guy like Greinke going from a hard thrower to a craftsman. Gary Cederstrom has changed as a strike caller. That's lined into left. Down in front of Brantley. back-to-back singles open the Washington second.
Another hard hit ball off the bat of Brian Zimmerman. And this ball, another pitch that gets too much of the plate. You can see he was waiting on that breaking ball. And the curveball was actually in a pretty good spot. You see how it goes down and stays on it. But this lineup for the Nationals fully aware that they're going to have to get on the breaking balls and stay middle of the diamond if they can. But that approach will allow hitters to pull slow breaking balls like Cabrera and Zimmerman both did.
So here's Kurt Suzuki. Prior to that home run against Justin Verlander in the 6th inning 2 nights ago, Suzuki had been 1 for 23 this postseason. He added another hit after the homer.
But that's the beauty of playing in the postseason. You don't need many hits, you just need big hits.
The Nationals, who did such a great job with runners in scoring position on Wednesday, let's take it back to game 2.
A.J. Ince talked about this pitch. He said it was just a high fastball that got away from Verlander, and Suzuki had a history of hitting well against Verlander, and that's why he got the nod to start in that game. And he broke the tie.
Cabrera and Zimmerman aboard. And a ball and 2 strikes now as he chased a slider. Zach Greinke looking for that signature postseason performance to kind of round out the resume. He's got the Cy Young. He's got 6 All-Star appearances. He'll surpass 3,000 career innings next year, and he's got an outside shot at 3,000 strikeouts if he stays healthy through his contract expiration date in 2021. What he doesn't have until tonight was a World Series start, and what he doesn't have a lot of is postseason success.
This is his 11th postseason series. He's 3-6 coming into this game, and 14 career starts in the postseason.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Still 2-2 to Suzuki.
Hey, this is where things really change when you're playing without the DH, because you got pitcher batting in the 9th spot. You get a ground ball right here, you get a double play, then you can pitch around the 8-hitter and work to the pitcher and get yourself out of a jam. It's not the case when you've got that DH, but you got Robles in the 8th spot hitting ahead of the pitcher. If Greinke can get a ground ball double play, then he could be real careful with Robles and have the prospects of pitching to Sanchez to get out of the inning.
See Chirinos crowd him, and a breaking ball that he hung. Man, he got away with one there. Suzuki out in front just a wee bit. Greinke looking for his first out of the inning.
Oh, boy. You can see Chirinos was set up down and away, and that breaking ball didn't get down and away. It stayed right over the heart of the plate. And Greinke's fortunate that Suzuki pulled it foul.
This will be the 15th pitch of the inning, and again still looking for his first out. Fastball fouled away this time. You know, you mentioned, Buck, the DH being in play in the American League ballpark, first 2 games of the series, pitcher hitting here. And it's interesting because the home field advantage, which has kind of disappeared this postseason, there's only 1 game difference between the home field and the visiting field in terms of win and losses this year. It's really magnified in the World Series if a team isn't built to DH. Fastball got him.
Oh, what a pitch. Greinke threw the slow breaking ball that was pulled foul. And then he jammed Suzuki with a fastball. And now Greinke, after that pitch, walked over to Bregman and reminded Bregman, hey, don't give up on the possibility of a bunt. There he paints that inside corner and gets Suzuki with a good fastball. But then after the pitch, Greinke walked over to Bregman and said, hey, be alive for a possibility of a bunt in this situation, and he might be bunting, but Bregman is still behind the bag at third.
Robles over the top of a pitch down to the shoe tops. A 1-for-7 World Series so far. Back to your point on the bunt. And the only National League player that bunted more often for a hit was Colton Wong of the Cardinals. 9 bunt hits for Victor Robles. And when you mix in that and the infield singles that he was able to beat out because of his speed, StatCast might not have him as a real quote-unquote hard hitter. Indeed, if you look at his exit velocities, you'd think him to be just kind of a punch and Judy guy with no pop. That's not the case. He hit 17 home runs during the season, but his average exit velocity was lower because of the kind of skill set he has, bunts and infield singles.
Yeah, he spreads out the velocity all over the chart because of those infield hits and the fact he can run.
On the ground to third, Bregman to Altuve, back to Gurriel. Leadoff singles and no damage against Zack Greinke in the second. We play 2 complete in DC. Houston with a 1-0 lead.